Hey, Garrett, I'm coming to you live from Facebook jail. I was able to sneak a phone in. It was very difficult. They check almost everywhere.
Fight Show, episode 30, powered by Buffed Energy. We are back again. Buffed Energy right there. You can go over to buff.energy/fight show. Caffeine, organic mushrooms, nootropic, and electrolytes. Bill, while I share these streams up, buddy, why don't you tell them how you've been enjoying that Buffed Energy quick for our guests? We drop our guest in.
I'll tell you what, I've completely switched over from those other energy drinks. You know the usual suspects.
I'm feeling a lot better. Cans.
Yeah, just the canned stuff. I'm feeling a lot better. I dig it. I'm a big fan of the pineapple flavor. Venom berry is all right too, but I'm just partial to the pineapple. It's helped get me through some third shifts here. It doesn't make me feel like crap. Not loaded full of sugar, not loaded full of calories. It's a superior choice to the stuff I was used to drinking. So, and like I said, I got some fitness goals coming up here, so I'm trying to get my little energy fix in without destroying my body and my cardio. So more on that to come.
Buff.energy/fight show. Like we said, caffeine, organic mushrooms, nootropics, and electrolytes. And we got this guy waiting here. Give me one more second to share this out to, I think, one more group here and get the people in here. This guy that's coming on tonight's been in around the sport in the Mecca, California since like 2007. He's been a coach. I've got to hang out and train and just get to know some people are commenting already. He's coming. Give me 1 second. Let me finish the intro. He's been around the sport since 2007 in Cali. The names he's going to mention are some true OGs if you're familiar with the sport. He's currently a cut man. Does that from time to time, state of California and other places, and he'll tell you about it. Rob McMullen. What's up, buddy? Welcome back. Fight Show Nation. Welcome you.
Thanks for having me.
Welcome, Rob.
What's up, man?
What's up, man? How you been?
I'm good. Shoot. I'm excited to be on the show again. I stopped by last time for a little bit, but now I got more time.
Yeah, for sure. Look, we're glad you were able to come back. Sean Sampson, he said he didn't want to fucking hear. I'm trying to get through the intro, and your buddy's like, who the fuck are these jackasses? We just want Rob.
So what? Hey, you know who that? You know who that is? That's my son. You can punch him in his face.
So if you
funny.
To refresh memories here, if you could, what got you into the sport, man? Your first day that you walked into an MMA gym or said, "Hey, I want to do this, man." What got you in? Tell us your backstory.
No, so actually it was boxing. I got in. I was boxing, right? So I was an amateur boxer, and then I got into coaching, and then from coaching, I just got into I get into fighters in shape, and then I got into the training aspect, and that was really just kind of spoke to me, right? So then I got into strength training and personal training and all that, and so then I was doing that for fighters for a while. That's what I was doing, like 2007. Dave Terrell has NorCal Fighting Alliance out here, right? So he's had a bunch of guys come up and through regional, national, then up into the like UFC and Bellator and so forth. And then I had an opportunity to move to Vegas in 2009, and then so I did that. I took that and I literally went out there without. I think I had a job doing like some personal training in the morning, like 2 sessions, and I didn't even have a job, like a real job. And then, but I ended up meeting Sean Tompkins not long after that, and so then I got with met with them and his team, like his coaches with Kibo and met with them. And then they said, "Let's do this." So he had just left Couture's, Extreme Couture, and then went to what's called Tap Out. Okay. And so then I joined them over there, and then we had and that was a dope jam. Oh my god, and then I was a strength coach for them. So
Yeah, Dave Terrell. He had a couple fights in the UFC, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, he fought. He knocked out Matt Lindland. Yeah, he fought. He knocked out Matt Lindland. Who else?
No, I remember him. He had like the dark hair, suave guy, wore the like white tight trunks. Yeah, I remember Dave Terrell.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's badass.
He's still involved. He's still training fighters out there.
Yeah, he's got like the biggest gym out here. He's got a good little setup now. Oh, he's been doing it for a long time.
Good for him. Yeah. No, I remember the other week we were talking before we came on air here. We had you had if Garrett wants to post it up, we had gone over some wrapping of the hands. There was some question, and like I said, dude, I've been around the sport a long time. I don't know everything, from a ref standpoint or from an inspector standpoint. And a couple things were brought to my attention. We were debating from the other week's show. A buddy of mine, Steve Gogler, that runs Fight World out here. It is in Pennsylvania. We were talking the other week. You do have to wrap your hands. It's in the rules. He showed it to me in the comments, and I mean it's confirmed. You have to wrap your hands.
How much though? Like you have? Does it have to be like a full on wrap? Do you have to use this X amount of gauze, or how's that?
He the way he put it in the comments, and it's in the last thing I believe. And if Steve is listening this week, he can chime in. It's I think it was at least one layer of wrap and tape. So
yeah, and that would make sense. And that was what I was saying. And probably something very similar, just like something around the wrist, something around the knuckles. And then, that's what I know we had to do in Seattle. That's like, they made us do it. So
yeah,
that was Seattle. That was Washington. So I think I've only done one fight out in Washington, but that's what, and that was with the, one of Khabib's guys. He didn't want anything, but they made us put just something, and I just did something real light on him. So
I'm willing to say probably, and we can't speak on anything. Like I said, we're familiar with PA. We had a guy who runs a promotion in PA. You're out there in California. You just sent me the rules. I think you're looking at across the board, Bill. I kind of think unified rules is going to be one wrap minimum. He just said they made amendments to like widths of tape and stuff like that, like little technical stuff. But I think I think
that's what I said.
I don't know
what that is. I think those are amendments to some of the rules. So because you'll see some stuff is crossed out.
Yeah, one winding of adhesive trainer's tape, and then that's crossed out, to exceed 2 inches in width, may be placed directly on the hand near the wrist to act as an anchor and prevent the standard soft cotton gauze used to wrap the hands from slipping.
So that is so that part right there is just saying, like, before you put the wrap on, you can put some tape on the wrist, right? And then that way when you put just a tape against the skin, right? And that some places don't. I know that Utah didn't let me do that because they're saying, hey, it adds like an extra layer of protection or something like that, because then you get that tape, then you get the gauze, then you can lay some more tape and stuff like that. So I know Utah didn't let me do that, but that's what that rule right there is talking about, is the laying something so that the gauze doesn't like spin around on your hand when you're trying to do it.
Yeah, I don't know how well you could see it, Bill. I'm kind of zoomed in here to look. Contestants will use no more than 30 yards of standard soft cotton gauze, not over 2 inches wide. So that's your standard like kit that they come with, the hand wrap guys come with.
Exactly.
Soft cotton gauze must be held in place with a total of no more than 20 yards of adhesive trainer's tape, not to exceed 2 inches. Yeah, so I think it's kind of similar. And I mean, you remember, if you can remember back, and like I said, we'll kind of touch on this piece. Like, I met Rob Bill in 2016, around the same time we were doing a lot of that, when Strike Off was doing a lot of the shows in Virginia. Me and you were seeing each other all the time. And then I was doing my show in New York, and he came out, and actually him and his cousin saved our main event. My buddy
So Steve, I think Billy's trying to get on. I think Billy's trying to
is he around?
I think he is. Can you send him a link?
Can you? Yeah, give me 1 sec. You two talk amongst yourselves. I'll take care of it.
All right.
He just texted me, but I don't have the link on me. So
yeah, no worries. I'll pull Facebook back up.
Now Garrett's the technology.
He's got all that. Okay, good.
So let me ask you something, Rob. The other week we were on here too. We also I had asked if it differed from boxing to MMA. We were talking a little bit about this before we went on the air here. In boxing or MMA, if I want to watch, if I'm a part of a camp and I want to watch the other fighter get his hands wrapped, is it my right to do that? Am I, quote unquote, legally allowed? Can I insist, or can they deny it, or how's that go down?
Yeah, you can watch. So you can watch the other fighter, and I think that is on one of the other pages. I think there might be more than one page on that. There's a thing to that.
Let me pull it up here.
Because that's what I pulled this up, and I was looking for that for you as well, as far as the rules and see what it was. I said, hey, can they? And it says something like, hey, a fighter can. I did find this in the rules. I don't know if that's in it, if it's in that, but it says that a fighter has the right to refuse to watch the other fighter, but they can watch it. So it is their right.
Okay, so if the other camp is giving me shit and saying that they don't want me to watch and all this, because I'll be honest with you, Rob, when I go over to that locker room and I'm watching the opponent get his hands wrapped, I'm going to try and needle at him a little bit and get in his head. Of course, that's what I'm there for. I'm not really there to watch. I mean, yeah, I'm going to watch your hands get wrapped, but I'm going to be like,
I don't think you're going to be able to say anything. I don't know. I don't know what that guy's saying.
Well, you know what? Even yeah. I always ask to see this thing. Yeah.
No, but I don't know that you'd be able to like really talk or say like too much to the camp. You probably got to give him.
Even if I upset him, that's what I was there to do. And even if I upset him and they kicked me out, I was just there to mess with them.
Okay.
They can't refuse me that. Correct.
Hey, it's all mental, right?
Yeah. Oh no, I'm gonna mess with them completely. No, I'm gonna find an issue with your hand wrap. You could be wrapping that thing perfect, and I'm gonna like point stuff out and like I'm gonna try and mess with this fighter. I'm gonna try and make you start over again, and like I'm gonna try and mess with them the whole time. But I was just wondering if they could deny me, if they could be like, no, we don't want that guy in here.
Oh, I don't think they can do that. I misunderstood the question. Okay, not that I know, because if it's your right to do it, to be there. Now, if you're being a jerk in there or something like that, I'm sure maybe the commission can be like, hey, either you chill out or you're out. Like you could maybe like that's kind of like a forfeit almost, right? Like you forfeit your right to
Oh, dude, so, if I'm back there, I'm gonna point out the commission all kinds of. Well, that's not right. That's not right. And you could be doing it 100% right. But okay, no.
Yeah, can you measure that? Can you check?
Yeah, oh, for sure. I'm gonna try and annoy this guy as much as possible. Yeah.
You might fuck around and get beat up by the cut guy afterwards if you're insulting his fucking rap job. These guys take their rap jobs pretty fucking seriously.
The good thing about MMA, at least like everywhere I've worked, is I don't work for fighters. I work for the promotion. Yeah, so there's so like you in boxing is different, so I can see you doing that like with boxing, but in MMA, it really wouldn't do anything because you've got like for Bellator, they have their like 4 or 5 main guys, then they would hire other guys to come do like I would go and do cuts, but they would have 2 other people that would just come in and wrap people, right? They get them in just to wrap a couple people because some people would be up working the fights and everything was scheduled out. So you'd have a list of, hey, these fighters you're wrapping at this time and this time and this time. So, but we worked for
when I was being an inspector for UFC New Jersey back when Luke Rockhold fought Lyoto Machida, Luke Rockhold actually sat back there and he wrapped his own hands. He's the only guy I've ever seen wrap his own hands, believe it or not. He must have learned the art from somebody or somewhere because he did a pretty bang up job from what I remember. Dude, if I tried to wrap my own hands, it would look like a drunk father that wrapped Christmas presents till 4 a.m. Everything would be it'd be all over the fucking place. It'd be terrible.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of people wrap their hands, and there's a couple that can do it.
Okay.
So I know Buckles out of Alpha Male. He wraps his own hands too.
Where'd you learn how to do this? Like, this isn't a common thing that you just stumble across. You have to go out of your way to learn this. Like
different people, like Billy. I worked with Billy a bunch, my cousin, and we did a bunch of stuff. I would wrap my hands over and over. I had a box of gauze, and I would wrap everybody's hands that came to my house. Just practice. But I was in boxing. I was coaching boxing, so my hand wraps have always been pretty solid. But then now they just like elevated to a different level with some of these guys, you know. And then I've watched some, you know, I've worked a ton of shows with Stitch, with Jamie Huey. And these dudes are all just, I mean, well, obviously Stitch is that, but who else? Big Surge. So all these guys, and I'll see everyone what they do. Everyone has like their own little style, right? Their own little thing to it. And so you kind of just, hey, this works for me. This doesn't, and go from there. You know, kind of take it and make it your own.
I'll tell you what, it's like when I think about it, like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess there's like no one standard way, right? I guess I really am asking you on air here about your like hand wrapping lineage, like who taught you and who taught him. You know, it's like, but
my boxing coach at first. Yeah, my boxing coach.
Touch on this. Hold on, let me touch on this just to give him his flowers. Billy said he can't tonight. We will have him on. You said you learned from him. I learned something this week, and in talking to some people. You know Strikeforce as Strikeforce, Bill. You remember Strikeforce as the MMA promotion, right? Strikeforce. Everybody remembers Strikeforce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott Coker.
Came from.
Yeah, his cousin Billy, who I also met, they worked together as a team. That's the one he was just saying taught him. That's the one we were trying to get on the show. He fought in Strikeforce when it was just kickboxing.
Yeah. And I cornered him for it. Yeah, he used to fight there all the time. I cornered him. That was I'll get the date wrong. I know it was like in 93 or 4, maybe 92. Yeah, it was a while ago, but it was in San Jose. Yeah, that was just an incredible show. So and then they went from and actually Stitch used to have his fighters on there too before he was doing cuts, and he was coaching. But shoot, they always had shows out there with just incredible. And Scott, man, I don't know, he's hands down. I think he's the best promoter, so he's badass.
Well, let me ask you something. Just because we try and be an educational broadcast, not just one that gives you bad parlays on DraftKings. What is the science behind? Because I'll tell you, when I used to fight, I hated hand wraps. I felt like they got in my way. They maybe the promoter should have had 2XL gloves for me and only had XL. I hated hand wraps. What is the science behind the hand wrap? What's it supposed to do? What's its function? Like, you know, what is it? It's there to make sure I don't break my knuckles or support my
absolutely,
wrist?
Absolutely, and all the little bones inside here, right? So you just want to protect your hands. Everything, all the rules are just to protect the fighters, right? Whether it's no eye gouging or whatever, or to wrap your hands. They don't want you, and for the promotion that you're saying is you have to wrap your hands or whatever. Because they don't want to, the promoters, they don't want to come out of insurance. Like the fighter breaks their hands. That's, you know, that comes out of promotion stuff. But all it is just to keep the fighter safe. That's all it is.
So it's like
to protect your hands.
Support the wrists and reduce impact on the knuckles?
Yeah, all it's going to do, it's going to tighten up. It's going to be like a cast. When I'm done wrapping a hand, it's like a cast, right? So your wrist is going to be doing this, or you're punching and it's folding over, breaking, or spraining your wrist.
No, I've rolled my wrist before.
That makes sense. And so any knuckle, if you've ever punched anything without wraps or whatever, that or your hand wrapped, then you jack up your knuckles. So all of that is going to protect it. So you're going to keep it in nice and tight. You know, give you something solid to work with.
Do you also double as a cut man? Have you learned the art of cut man, or are you just a hand wrapper?
No, I do both. I work cuts. Yeah, I work cuts. The last show I did for Uriah's show in I think it was May 29th or March 29th was for the A1 combat. I didn't wrap any hands. I just did cuts for that show. They had everybody was wrapping their own hands, or their coaches were.
One of the things I worked for the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission for a really long time. One of the things used to frustrate me is some of these promoters, they would hire one cut man. Okay. There's only 60 seconds between rounds. And I always asked Greg Serb, former executive director of PA here. I always asked him, I would say, what happens if both guys need attention? And
so let me tell you this.
We'll figure that out when we get to it. Have you ever worked a promotion where two guys between rounds needed your attention?
Yeah.
Right?
So what I've done,
what happened? Tell me.
So usually I don't like working and being the only cut man, but I've done it at plenty of shows. And actually, at the A1, I just did that. Fortunately, the only time like both people needed attention, this one guy had a bloody nose. So what I did is I rolled up. I had a nose plug. I put some epi on it, but the other guy had a cut, so I had to go in and work on the cut. Right, the bloody nose, whatever, let his nose bleed. But I gave that coach like the nose plug, just, hey, put this in his nose, right? Because I can't go to both guys. I'm not gonna work on you if you're cut, get your blood on my gloves, and then work on gear, right? So I went to work on the cut, the main one. So I worked on him, gave the other guy the plug. But hey, what are you gonna do?
That was always one of my biggest fears. If that went down, it's like, what if you spent 50 seconds working on the one guy, and then that clacker hits for the 10-second for the corners to get out, and the other guy needs 50. I mean, I think the only if I had ever been put in that situation, I would have thought the only fair thing to do would have been give you 50 seconds to work on the other guy, which kind of extends the round, which is against the rules. Like, dude, I would have been so. I don't fucking know. I've never seen that happen before. You know, if
a fight lost, if somebody had to lose on a cut or something like that because of that,
God.
That would be absolutely horrible. And the thing about it was like a championship fight at that. Like, come on.
That's a message out there to all promoters. Pony up the extra couple $100 and hire 2 cutmen.
Yeah, hire one ring card girl, man. Just one. You don't need 3 or 4 fucking ring card girls. Get 2 cutmen. Keep the fighters fucking safe. That's all. Like, I've said that for years. I don't understand why they would hire all these ring card girls and then one cutman or no cutman. I've seen people with no cutman and just let their corners do it. And most of these corners don't have. I mean, you know how difficult it is, anyways. Like, just you got to keep your fighter focused, right? And then you have to. You're working his cuts, so you don't want him tripping out. So you got to work his cuts. Also talk to him and coach him through what you want him to do for the next round. I mean, it's insane that they don't have two.
The cutmen there. That's an art form, man. You know, that's an art form.
It's awesome. Like, I love it. I love it. I don't, and honestly, I'll tell you what, like, I don't want to go into a fight. I don't want people to get cut. I don't want a fighter to get cut. All I want to do, I want to go in there, slap some Vaseline on your face, throw you out there, let you fight, and then go home, right? Like, that would be an ideal night, because then you're not going to have a cut that might open up later on or some bad scarring or something like that. You know what I mean? Because you never know if it's going to be a bad cut where it could just keep opening in each fight or something. So,
dude, I've seen some fighters go back to the corner looking like the movie Passion of the Christ with you know what I mean, like these guys, and then 60 seconds later they come out looking like nothing fucking happened. I mean, there's a real art form to being a cut man. You know, some of these guys are really, really freaking good. And let's be, you know, we were talking about the other week with visual optics in the what was it? I forget, Garrett, help me out. Who was fighting? Chris Curtis. Okay, these fighters, the more damage you show, the judges see that shit. And so if you don't do a good job as a cut man, and it opens back up early in the second round, or early in the next round, and you're a bloody mess for the whole, the judges see that, and they're probably going to score the round against you because they're being reminded, oh yeah, this guy's getting fucked up. You know, some of these cut men are real. You know, I don't know the first thing about being a cut man. I know there's all this like nitrile stuff or stuff you guys use, but who taught
different
you
states to let you do stuff? I just use epi. That's what I like, epi and Vaseline, right? So that's all I like to use. That's like, I know there's other stuff to use, but and some states will let you use some different stuff, but that works.
Who taught you that though? Who taught you like cut man stuff?
I kind of just started doing it, really. Like, I worked. My first show I actually did was with Billy. So Billy kind of went over some things with me as far as doing cuts. I had a couple cuts and for my first fight, but nothing super bad. But just a typical low cut, and was able to do it. So just talking about it, watching. I mean, there's plenty of videos. I talked Adrian Rosenbusch. He was in UFC for a while as a cutman. And he did a bunch of other shows like local Vegas shows and all that before he went to UFC. So I mean, I've been fortunate to be around some really, really good people in the sport. So I just learned from everything from everybody.
No, that dude, that's accurate. Networking and who you cross paths with in the sport, and
the people that I've worked with, I mean, the people I've worked with are just incredible. Like, you know, when you're sitting there and you're like, in your rap hands, like, you know, Stitch is rapping someone next to you, and you're like watching it, you know, or you know, people watching you, and so it's cool, and everybody's all pretty cool because they'll teach you, they'll tell you some little things that they do, maybe a little trick here, trick there. So that's just how I've done it.
I'd imagine it's probably similar, Bill. I think it's kind of similar probably to what you experienced moving from fighter to ref. I'm sure there was guys above you that, you know, did the tips and tricks, and just you get your reps and you spend time around the shows, and it's probably similar to the same process that you learned.
I'll tell you what. Now that I'm out, I will say this. I owe a lot to Keith Peterson. You know, little short Keith Peterson. Sir, you ready? Sir, you ready? Dude, that guy took me under his wing. That motherfucker, he criticized everything I did. Everything I did. I mean, even if I did great, he criticized something, you know? The guy made me better, man. I owe him. He opened a lot of doors for me. He got me on my first Bellator. And just everything snowballed after that. And just the success I did have in the sport and accomplishing what I wanted to accomplish. I mean, I would say Greg Serb gave me some huge opportunities, but Keith Peterson really opened the door for me. So, yeah, you cross paths with these people. You know, the better the higher up and the better the people you're learning from, the better you become.
Oh yeah, Bellator. I love doing Bellator shows, and they have really good coming too. Those guys, they helped me out a lot too, because that was my first big show I did was Bellator. I've probably done like 5 or 6 shows when they used to come to San Jose all the time.
You know my guy. You may or may not. My guy Paul Cudero. Oh
yeah, he used to be there. Yeah,
Paul's awesome. Awesome guy.
Yeah,
Paul's an awesome guy.
Damn.
Yeah, he works a ton of local MMA out here on the East Coast, Philadelphia, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware. You know, he's everywhere. Paul's an awesome dude, man.
Nice. Oh yeah. So, it's been a while for him there.
Yeah. I don't think he gets out to California much. He works a lot of the East Coast.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
And I'm sure those promotions try and cut down on paying people for travel whenever they can. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that's when they pick up local guys like me. They'll bring their main guys out though, but then when they go everywhere, they usually get like 1 or 2 local people to come in and fill in backstage. You know, like greasing people backstage for the prelims. Because the prelims they'll grease backstage, and then for the main card they'll grease right up at front.
Oh, okay.
They're trying to get it through.
It's crazy, dude. Here's show to show.
We kind of here's the deal. So we discuss gray areas a lot. We just looked at the California rules. We can pull up 50 different states' rules, and it's going to be different. I was talking to Rob earlier before the show about Maryland not having amateur, so all the Maryland guys go to like PA, Maryland, Virginia. Like Virginia's as deep as it is because of Maryland, I think, as far as the amateurs go. But we were also hearkening back to. I remember you're going back 2016 now, so you were reffing by then, Bill. You were reffing in 16. Yeah, you were reffing in 16 because we were working the shows together in Virginia.
I started reffing in 2012.
I show up in Albany at the promotion that I was running at the time, and I had heard, we're flying 2 cut guys in from California, and in my head I'm going, you couldn't get fucking cut guys from New York. We're in New York State. Now this is pre-legalization, so the last show we did was the last third-party sanctioned show before MMA got fully legalized in New York, right? So you're going back to the beginning of 2016.
Did you guys have like the Muay Thai commission out there?
Yeah, we used, because there was no legal MMA and anybody, and when I tell you Wild West, Bill, like you talk about Virginia, and I reckon some of the stories that you've told me about Virginia are like they ring true, because like New York was truly the Wild West. You had 10 guys training together in a garage with some fucking mattresses and shit. Like you just had the fuckery of fuckery up there. But we chose to use the Muay Thai, U.S. Muay Thai Commission or U.S. Muay Thai Authority up there as a third-party sanctioning body because it brought us legitimacy. That way, when we went to states, like our plan was to move into other states, namely Pennsylvania, where we were at. Greg Serb wouldn't even entertain the idea of giving us a license unless we use a third-party sanctioning body. So I was like, okay, cool, cut guys. Like, it is what it is. At that point, it was one of them things where, like, okay, yeah, let's get a cut guy, or he flew these guys in from California, and I was actually just talking to my former 155-pound champ, Steve Zakaraskis, U.S. Navy vet, good buddy of mine. He lives down in Texas now. He still to this day, 8 years later, just said, you guys saved that. That was his first AMI title, and you guys saved the title for him. So, like, still to this day.
Yeah, I remember that fight. Me and Billy still talk about that fight. Can I go?
Go ahead.
So he had a nasty cut too, and it was over his eye. Blood was all in his face, and but he was over in Billy's corner. They're on the mat, and the ref stopped it, and she I don't know what she was thinking. She's like looking at it, and then and she was gonna stop the fight, you know, and Billy just goes, "Hey, take him over to his," because he was in my corner. I was working in his corner, and he goes, "Hey, take him over there, and my cousin will stop the fight, or he'll stop the cut. He'll stop the cut." And she looked at me and she goes, "Can you do this?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, that's what I'm here for." And so she brought him over. Boom! I worked on him. He went out for the next round, and actually went out for the next couple rounds, and then he ended up winning the fight. So they were about to stop the fight, and he ended up winning it. But because we can do it.
We were in like an old gymnasium at my buddy Matt's gym. Shout out to Matt Doheny from ABC Sports and Fitness in Albany, New York. He gets his flowers. But Matt was an awesome host. They had a whole walking track around the top, right? The cage was set up at one side of the gym. So I'm up there as president of the promotion, like with the best view in the house. And I'm like, okay, I got to go down here for this title fight. And I'm like, it's surreal to me because it's one of my favorite moments, honestly. And I'm not just saying that because Rob's here, but like watching what transpired with no cans on. I'm just watching. I got guys on the floor kind of these guys are just in the ring, and for that 60 seconds, and Steve's my buddy, you know what I'm saying? I was a promoter, it was a fair matchup. I was stoked, I had to be impartial, but I was hoping my buddy won the title. Like, I'm not gonna fucking bullshit. And to watch these guys do what they did in 60 seconds in between rounds, when I see a doctor chirping and he's still working, talking to the doctor, and then I see a doctor moving and I see cut guys sweat. For that 60 seconds, bro, my asshole was puckered. And I still can literally close my eyes and envision everything he just said. Like it,
and that was a dope fight too. That was a good fight, and it would have just sucked like to lose on a cut. And it was obviously it was a workable cut. So that's what, when you get people with the experience who don't, you know, for her, she hadn't seen a whole bunch of it. It was a pretty nasty cut, but it was still workable, you know, and it shouldn't have ended the fight. And so I'm glad that it was able to at least go on and give us a chance to kind of do our magic with it.
Yeah. We went to the after party, and I was talking to my business partner at the time, and I said, look, I had my reservations about cut guys from California, but whatever you fucking paid them, worth every fucking penny. Because that fight up in that area had such local buildup. Steve was the star. If Steve wouldn't have had his Navy duties, Steve would have went on to do some big things. But he got shipped overseas and stuff like that. So shout out to Steve. Tanner, turn your phone sideways, please, if you're gonna be with us. We want to see all of you, buddy.
I got you.
Hey, buddy, there he is. Shout out to Tanner. Stopped in for a few minutes.
What's up, Tanner? I did ask, like, do you see much of a difference, like, about, like, what they're going to allow, like, per se, like, in those regional settings versus, like, the Bellator scene setting, like, as far as cuts, like, how far they'll let things go, how far they'll let the cut man work their magic?
Well, the doctor's always going to have, like the top say, right? He's going to have the final word. But they know that we know what we're doing. This is what I do, is a lot of them I know now because I've worked with them, and so they know me. But every time I go in there, the doctor is one of the first people I find, and I say, "Hey, how you doing, man? My name is Rob. I'm the cut man tonight." You know, and then I introduce myself, let them know what I've done, and I just say, "Listen, all I ask is, you know, your word's final, but just let me have a chance to do what I do because I'm pretty good at it." And that's it. You know, and just introduce myself, let them know. And, you know, doctors are kind of A-type personality, so you go in there, you meet them, and you introduce yourself, and it's never gone bad. So, so that's always been a good thing for me. So they've let me work. I've never had. I've been fortunate that I've never had a fight stopped on cuts. That they've always let me work, and I've even had doctors say, "Hey, do you think you can do this?" I'm like, "Yeah." So
Dude,
Not gonna say no.
I will tell you, Stu, as honest as I can be. Here in Pennsylvania, we had this doctor, and man, I'm embarrassing myself. He was one of the best doctors ever. He was a former rugby player. Dude,
shoot.
he would
He knows
let
about
you
cuts.
go. And if you get some doctor that's like a family practitioner who like works on children's feet or some shit like that, and he sees blood, he panics.
Yeah.
All he thinks about is getting sued. This one doctor, he was husky. He had a thin blonde mustache. I know Brent Colflesh could help me out here. Real stocky. This guy was amazing. A former rugby player. The guy would be just bleeding. They'll be like, "Oh, he'll be all right in a week."
Yeah,
Like,
it's a fight. It's a fight,
bro.
You're gonna bleed, man. It's a fight.
Dude, but that's the thing. Some doctors have such an itchy trigger finger that you're like, I've seen so much worse than this go on. But dude, what people don't understand, man. Well, I think people do understand it more these days. If the whatever the doctor says goes, it's a liability thing for the commissions. You don't talk back to the doctor. You don't argue with the doctor. You don't like if the doctor's like, we're gonna stop the fight. He's the doc. He does the yeah.
Shoot, is that CTE or something like that?
He doesn't put up with any kitty stuff. Use the acronym for kitty or use the analogy kitty. He doesn't do kitty stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Dude, if you're bleeding, that dude's gonna let you fight. He was the best doctor I've ever worked with.
That's awesome.
Really, really good. Understood the sport. Let the cut man work. He wasn't scared of blood. And I've worked with some doctors that, like I said, they're family practitioners, and they were brought up on last second, and they had no idea what they were signing up for. And they saw like a bloody nose, and they're like, "Oh my God, we gotta stop this." He was such a good doctor, man. And I always really, really enjoyed working with that guy. And I would tell him before the show, I was like, dude, if you fear for anybody's safety, I was like, because people will call me an idiot, which is fine, whatever. Maybe the shoe fits, I'll wear it.
Whatever.
People call me an idiot. Nobody says the doctor is a moron. We're a bunch of like blue collar workers. We like a rougher lifestyle. We like our beer. We like our gambling. We like our fighting. And none of us are going to say that the doctor who's had 12 years of schooling is a fucking moron. That doctor,
right?
that doctor's he's probably smarter than we are. So
I'm going to speak for myself on this, but I know having been concussed several times, having had a solid training partner, my brother who wrestled, fought, like I know what a concussion looks like. A concussion from 20 feet away looks very different than a concussion from 2 feet away. And you can look at a guy and you can see. And there's times where guys are like, what? But 2 seconds earlier, his eyes were rolled back in his head. And he wakes up trying to grab the ref. And then he's arguing it. That doc probably saw something. If that's something that were a stoppage or something like that where the doc's called in and they can take one look at a guy and see. Like you just had a guy puke the other day in the cage because he said he got concussion in training.
Yeah. Whatever that is, there could be an underlying issue there. And hey, it's no joke. We have had, and I'm talking from Pennsylvania, we have had people die in combat sports. And we do everything we can to prevent it. But this is not this is the hurt business. It's not the and these doctors, like I said, I'm a dickhead for not knowing his fucking name because he was the best. I loved when I showed up and this guy was there, and I will have his name by next week, by the way.
All right.
He deserves a shout out. He deserves a shout out.
When you have good people that you work with and you know that they have a solid team or a solid commission, like at the California Commission, I love them. They're awesome to work with. The commissioners and inspectors and whatnot. They're so. Yeah, it's good when you show up and you're like, hey, all right, cool. I know I'm working with this guy. Things are good. And then they, when I showed up to the fights last time, they were like, oh, you're working it tonight? Oh, good. Okay, cool. And then it was a smooth night, except for the one fight where the guy had a bloody nose in the other corner that I wasn't working. So that was it.
What's your opinion out there of guys like because again you're out like the Holy Land. I know Vegas is the fight town, fight capital, but like MMA, California's the mecca to me. Like, you guys were doing jiu-jitsu and all that shit light years before everybody else. What do you like? I personally like seeing. We had our buddy Nick Gonzalez on the show, who's a 20-year fight game vet from Texas. Mm-hmm. Guys like Frank Trigg, guys. And for what people don't understand, Herb Dean's got cage experience. Like, how important is it for these officials? Like, you're on the ground a lot. You're at these shows a lot on the officiating side of it, not as a fan. Like, you're not officiating, but you're right there with those guys from the start of the show to the end of the show. Like, are you seeing like more and more? You got Lieben, you got Frank Triggs doing it now. Like I said, Herb Dean's got a little bit of fight experience out there. Like, what's your feeling on this? Because I personally like it. I know it doesn't. No amount of experience as a fighter in the cage could probably make up for the reps you have to do. But I think it just brings judging. I want to see more former fighters as judges and refs, and
maybe as judges would be good. I mean, refs too. Like Lieben's good. He's coming in his own too. He's doing a lot more. Trigg's been doing it for a while, and then obviously Herb Dean's been doing it. I mean, as a rep, because then you have to know. And train or fought, because then what's about to happen or what could happen from the position that they're in.
I will say this, from what I've seen, you do have better instincts. Former fighters have better instincts. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna trash anybody. There was a fight recently on the most recent big broadcast that you saw, and a referee stopped a fight and he's a good ref. He really is. But like, he was still in the fight and diving for a single leg, and the guy stopped it. And it's like, dude, former fighters have better instincts. Just from what I'm seeing, I'm telling you.
I believe so. I mean, I would say that 100%. For that, because they know like I said, they know from position to position what can happen. They're in there a little quicker if they need to be, and they're not gonna. Yeah. I think it'll be more of a better fight.
At the same time, you have a guy like Kerry Hatley who has put his reps in. Kerry Hatley's been reffing forever. Like, he might have even been a ref longer than you were a ref, but like, the guy's been around.
Oh yeah, I've worked with him before.
And he still let that Bobby Green. He still let that Bobby Green knockout go as long as it did. And there's not a person in the fucking world that said, "Why is this fight still going on?" Like, it should have been stopped.
Listen, I'll tell you what. Listen. We make mistakes. We are human. I'm not saying there's a lot of people who just agree with shit to agree with shit. We make mistakes. We're fucking human, and unfortunately, you can't get on social media and apologize when you dude. Rob, on the show before, I've apologized to the guy where I felt I had the worst call of my life. I've literally vocally apologized to this guy. And I wish I could have done it the week of the fight, and I begged the commission to change it, and they said we can't.
Yeah,
but
that's rough. That sucks. Because then you have to deal with that and live with that. And so, but I mean, at least a man up and say, hey, you know what? Like, I fucked this call up,
dude. I shit the bed. It was horrible. And
have you talked to the fighter?
Comments, people were in line were like, "That's a horrible call," and I'm looking at the replay, and I'm like, you know what? You're right. That's a fucking horrible call, so even with the Bobby Green fight, man, we have, we're human. We make mistakes, we're just not allowed to say it. The instinct, like Mark Goddard, is to run the social media and defend yourself, which you shouldn't do. If you just let it go, it'll be done in a day or two, and everybody be looking forward to next week. If you say some shit, it's like kerosene on the fire. No, it's kerosene on the fire. These people
done in a week. Have you met the MMA fan base? There's people still on the internet arguing the Yuri Pereira stoppage.
I think it more depends on if you have like a ref that like consistently calls bad stoppages, or if you have one that makes one every now and again. Dude, if you look at Herb Dean, he refs like more than anybody, in the year. So it's like, okay, like he's definitely gonna have, some more questionable calls. He refs
I will
so many more fights.
And this is Rob and Tanner. The MMA fan base basically gives you a credit score. Okay, your credit score, like you're allowed to miss a payment here and there. Yeah, but if you're pretty good about it, like your score is going to be good. If you're just fucking constantly missing payments, yeah, you're gonna be low, bro.
Like here's the deal.
That's a good way of putting it.
There's two who should not be named. Steve the Danger Twins.
He
Steve
wasn't
Mazzagatti.
that bad.
If they die, they die.
And Mario, if they die, they die. Yamasaki. And I can tell you what, Mario Yamasaki gets a bad rap. Him and his brother are true martial artists. They own a school in Virginia. Mario is one of the nicest fucking guys.
Most of them are. Most of them are.
He is. He's had some bad calls.
This one's for Mario Yamasaki because the MMA fan base hates Mario Yamasaki. So, no.
But these guys, man, but they can't get in there and do it. Like, I couldn't get in ref a fight. I wouldn't even want to ref a fight. You know that right now. That'd be.
Dude,
no,
when you ref
that's a lot riding on it.
When you ref a fight and you fuck up a call and you know you fucked it up and you still have to go to the center of the cage, grab both guys' hands, knowing that you just cost this dude a lot of work that he put in the shit. You feel like a giant piece of shit, and you can't let it show.
Damn.
You know you fucked up. You know you fucked up. Like, I know. Like, you know, it's like
Tanner,
you just
gotta
gotta sit there and
remember,
fucking take it.
Tanner, you gotta also remember, say you watched the UFC and Bellator and another promotion on Fight Pass at the time that Bill was reffing, and you happen to see Bill ref on UFC and Bellator, and then you see him ref on Fight Pass. For every show that you've seen him ref, he's probably reffed 20. If he's doing it, you know what I'm saying? If he's doing it, and depending on the state and the density of how many shows there are, but a guy like Bill, who is Pennsylvania, Jersey, Delaware.
Oh, so you work for the commission then? You ref all of it. You don't just
for every time you saw Bill on camera, the few times he's been on camera, he's worked 20 or 30 shows that you haven't seen. So when you know, like, people don't know who Gary Copeland is, mini Brock Lesnar, and he fucked up the other week and did a shitty call. Who the fuck is this guy? First of all, if they're reffing the UFC TV product, they have their reps in. Trust and believe those guys know what they're doing. Everybody makes mistakes, but Gary Copeland refs almost every year at the Arnold Classic in Ohio. He refs multiple shows in like Ohio and Indiana, like the Midwest. Guys that go to those regional shows know who Gary Copeland is, but then you have these fickle fucks on the internet who want to, who's this guy? He's garbage. They should fire him.
Hey, listen, and this is honest I can be. He had a bad show.
Yeah,
he had a bad show. You know,
it's unfortunate, but it does happen. It's not. You're not gonna shoot 100%. You know, all the time.
I'll tell you what.
The best NBA 3-point shooters shoot 40%, dog.
I'll shoot the shit with Garrett just here for a second. I refereed a fight in Virginia that you remember. Sean Spath versus Komet the Turk.
Ahmet Kyretley. It was the legacy, or it was the axe kick. The axe kick.
It was at Fort Eustis, Virginia. I was stationed there for 4 years. I was stationed there for 4 years. I thought I was seeing an axe kick, like George St. Pierre style. The legs were spread, and Ahmet comes through, and I'm thinking I'm seeing an axe kick, and it was a stomp. In my head, I'm picturing a stomp is like the old Pride shit where somebody's on the ground and you're stomping at their head.
Yeah.
The stomp rule does not differentiate between the head and the stomach. And I called a stoppage, and I had the win for Ahmet against. And Sean's just looking at me in the cage like, are you fucking retarded? And I had already made the call, and I'm like, in this case, yes, I am. Like, yes, I'm a fucking idiot, but I had to go with it. For
you,
I'm not gonna lie, I'm retarded.
Just to add a point to this, that like the little creme de creme, the little cherry on top. You work with Sean in an officiating basis. Sean Spath was the only person I've ever seen, and it's a weird case, and I'm sure there's other places. I haven't been everywhere. Mm-hmm. You would go to an event in like some area, and Sean is reffing that event for Virginia. Like the month before, Sean's reffing that event. The following month, you go to the same promotion, and Sean is a fighter on the card. Like, it's just, and he was doing both at the same time.
That is since been fixed. That will never happen again. It's very well known. You pick one or the other at this point. But back to, yes, I fucked that shit up. Like, dude, I was in the cage raising Ahmet's hand, already planning what I was gonna say to apologize to the commission that I fucked that shit up. Please make it right. Yeah. And then the funny thing is, I had to referee, and it was for was that for Legacy? Yeah, that was for
Yeah,
Legacy.
LFA. It was I think it was LFA at that time, but yeah, LFA.
Yeah.
Legacy.
And immediately after, I was refereeing a world title fight against Kyle Guns Out Stewart versus something Nakamura or something. But like my head's fucking rattled because I just fucked shit up horribly, and now I got to referee a world title fight. Oh my god!
That one turned out.
Guess, yeah, and you're right. Especially if like refereeing, if you're calling a bad call, you got to have that going in your head.
I know I fucked up. I know.
I never really thought about that with the Copeland thing, though. And I mean,
I know I fucked up.
Would have just rough nights. I mean, I guess that could skee ball.
Dude, the fucked up thing is like these NFL referees and these baseball umpires, they're just allowed to fuck shit up every fucking night. These NBA refs. And you know what? The association just comes out with a report next morning. And they're like, "Hey, we're sorry about that," and everybody moves on. And then me, I got to read for the following month. I'm the biggest piece of shit that's ever walked the face of the earth. I should be fired and arrested. I'm like, Jesus, man! Like I messed up. I made a bad call. Right? I get it.
Kind of touching on that, like talking about like bad calls, stuff like that, stoppages, cut stoppages. Do you have any like weird tips or tricks that you like learned along the way to like, I don't know, something odd that like sticks out beyond the average like cut man like regular stuff? Like I know we saw that Yannick Jonin, that one cut man, like now it's not smelling salts, it was he used his thumb to like pop her nose or something like that from the base.
Yeah, what's your comment on that, Rob? Did you see the 300?
I did not see that, and I don't know what he's. I've seen people pop, snap noses back in.
So at the end of round one, she was choked. Weili Zhang was choking her out. I had her in a rear naked choke, and Yan was kind of saved by the bell, but Yan was out. Like it was visible, like she was out, but then the way Weili pushed her off, it kind of woke her back up, so the ref didn't call it. And you can tell she's still kind of fuzzy. And then over in her corner, you hear the ref or the cut man go, "Do you want me to wake her up?" And then it appeared that they used smelling salts. However, the ref says, and I believe it was McCarthy that backed this statement up, that said that he used a little trick by putting his thumb like in the base of her nose and like popping the nose or something like that there, or pushing in to cause pain to wake her up.
Trying to wake her up. I didn't see that. I'll rewatch that fight.
Dude, I don't even know. Are you, Rob? Yeah. Are you allowed to use smelling salts between rounds? Is that a thing in MMA or boxing?
I've never used them. I don't know. I don't even have them.
From what I've read, it's not. It's not legal. So
have you ever smelled one of those things?
Yeah, one of our sponsors.
We're not. Yeah, so we were just affiliated with a company that had smelling salts for like daily use. And while they're jackasses and don't pay for any purchases that were made and didn't honor their end of the agreement, we won't name them, but people know who the fuck they are. It was a good product. Like the thought itself, I used it. Bill used it. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Sleepy drivers. Like I've used smelling salts to wake a guy up when he was unconscious after a knockout in the gym. Like I had some in my bag, but they were like break the capsule medical first aid kit smelling salts. This is a little bit different. But I could see how that would be quite effective if you're on the stool like this. But yeah.
No, I thought that was a boxing thing. I really did. I thought smelling salts was a thing. That's legal.
I've read it's not legal.
The only time I've ever seen it used was in Utah, and this guy was out for a long time, and so they used I believe the doctor ended up using it on him. So it wasn't even me or anybody else. It was like from the doctor. And they had it out for a long time. Huh?
So the fight was over when this happened.
The fight. Yeah, he was out. Yeah. Okay. But that's the only account that I've ever seen or used. Seen it used.
All right, I got you.
Yeah.
See,
we'll just assume that was again, John McCarthy. Big John's got no reason to go on the internet and lie. The guy helped write the unified rules. Like he works for the enemy. He works for Bellator, but it's all right. John's all right. I like his podcast with Josh Thompson, but no, he ain't got no reason to come on and bullshit it. And he definitely don't have no reason to come on and protect the UFC or protect the commission. You know what I'm saying? So he's out of it. So for him to say that's what they did and that's his person, it's one of them things I'll defer to people that know what the fuck they're talking about all the time. say people ask me an officiating question, I'll tag Bill in the comments because it's better to come from somebody that's been on the ground doing it than stuff that I'm regurgitating that Bill's told me. So as far as that stuff goes, like I said, John kind of holds the cards on being able to know what he's talking about on that one.
I agree.
Any tips or tricks though? Any weird ones?
I'm gonna say any weird ones. I mean, most of the, and I think I spoke of this before, is if somebody, the only really thing I do is if someone has something wrong with their hand, I'll wrap their hand a little different. Like they say, hey, this knuckle's jacked up, or my wrist is a little jacked up, then I'll wrap it a little differently just to kind of help protect it. I don't know that's a weird or anything, but I always ask the fighter.
Hold on. That is weird because that means they lied to the commission doctor and now they're telling you the truth.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, right. Okay, man.
But it's tender here. Everything's hey, whatever. This is if they've had injuries here and there. Huh?
Dude, if they would have said that in the pre-fight physicals to the doctor, like,
it's illegal. Someone just said
hand,
He said it's illegal.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. If they had said to the doctor pre-fight physical what they said to you, the fight wouldn't have happened. So they lied to the commission. Knowing their hand is.
Who doesn't lie to the commission? Like
everything's good.
So I don't know. That's really the only thing that I kind of do. I don't know.
Right.
Nothing really weird. I guess it's not weird.
So of course, and we're gonna ask that old question. We had a comment there though. What was one of the worst cuts you can describe?
Man, the worst cut is gonna be George Hernandez, who's a badass, right? Like and it was for Combate Americas, and it was this cut. Who was he fighting? He was fighting he was fighting a guy named Yolandi. But he had this cut, and it must have been like this long on his forehead and probably as wide as my pinky, right? Like it was. I couldn't believe, and it was like you were saying. The one guy he looked like. It was just everywhere, like the Passion of Christ. That's what you said. Blood everywhere, and I was like, "Oh my god, I have to go in and do this?" Like, and so I'm actually nervous. I'm like, "Holy shit!" So I go in there and I have a towel, and then when it's on TV, they want you to wipe all the blood. Like, you don't want all the blood there, because it's got to clean up a little bit. But then you got to wipe the face. You got to find out where is this cut, right? Especially if it's on the eye or here or something like that. You got to wipe the face, clean the blood off so you can see where is it actually coming from. So I get in there and I jam him to the cage. I put a towel over his face. I'm wiping him down. And I instantly had 2 swabs in this cut. Like these swabs butted up against, and I have these long swabs too, right? And I have them butted up against each other, and I'm pressing on it. And the doctors come in, and I move around this way like this. But to the doctor, and I'm walking this guy back to his to the stool, and I'm like, "Hey, I got it. Just listen to your corner, dude." And I'm sitting there, and his corner starts talking to him. The doctor's like over here behind me. He starts walking around this way, and I'm just trying to stop the blood, right? Because the epi is like a vascular restrictor, so it'll kind of coagulate the blood, right? Or restrict it, right? So I'm trying to at least get the blood to stop flowing before the doctor looks at it. So I move. Then the doctor's like, "Hey, can I look at it?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, of course, of course you can. Here, I need you to look at this." And so he looks at it, and then I'm just looking at the doctor like, "Man, don't stop it!" Like, because it was a good fight. They were just getting it. And then the doctor's like, he looks at me, and I talked to this doctor. I'd never seen him, but I talked to him before the fights. Introduced myself. So I said, "Hey, I can get this." And he's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Yep." And he said, "Okay, go ahead." And he let me work on him. And he went back out, and that was the worst. That was the worst guy. He didn't end up winning the fight, but he got to go fight. He got to fight some more rounds. So, but that was the worst one by far.
I'm sure you got to feel good about that, because sometimes those
actually,
those
I think absolutely 100%, like 100%. When they get to go out and still fight, I love that. But on the pictures that he, I think that's the one where I was working on the cut between the where you see the cage and then me work on the guy. I think that was George for that fight.
Oh yeah, the thumbnail for the show. Rob sent me a couple of pictures of him doing work as a cut man and wrapping hands.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
So yeah, that was it.
That's awesome, man. Ooh, you're looking at it like I gotta work on that. Ooh.
Yeah, not, you know what's funny is like, hey, if you cut your leg open or something like that, or there's a surgery shown on TV, I do not want to see it. Like I don't want to see it. But if your face is jacked up, call me because I'll be all over it.
That's funny.
Tanner, how much more time do you got?
I'm about to have to bounce, honestly.
All right, you got anything else for Rob while you're here, and then we'll carry on for a little bit, I think. And
No, that's really it. Just asking about that and yeah, what your work was. And no, it was really awesome listening to you. It's always great to hear another perspective and just see all the inner workings, you know, like we always see these fights and we always appreciate them coming on every Saturday, but you never really think about those little inner details of everybody that has to do their part to make sure that these shows go on perfectly. So really awesome to listen to you. We appreciate it.
Awesome, thank you.
I will tell you what, Tanner owns a group. What MMA junkies?
UFC junkies.
UFC junkies.
Mm-hmm.
UFC junkies. All right. Just real quick, Tanner, before you get off the air, Garrett, can I do my quick little referent right now?
Yeah, I mean, if you wanna do it with Tanner, or you want to just do it yourself, yeah, go ahead.
This is my referent for this week because there's been no MMA. Brought to you by Pull No Punches Apparel. Tanner, I'm looking at your mustache. I'm looking at your hair. Save some ladies for the rest of the guys out there. What the hell, dude? That's not even fair, bro.
Dude, I gotta enjoy it while I can. Like,
dude, it'll lead into a funny thing that Garrett did later, but I changed my profile picture earlier. Listen, my head is beautiful. Rob's head is beautiful, dude. Save some ladies for the rest of us.
We're gonna get you that Diego Lopez mullet. We're gonna get you that Diego Lopez mullet.
Here we go. If I donate $200-300 to a charity, will you shave your freaking head? I just want you to level the playing field for the other guys in your local area.
Just a little longer.
Hey, just the hair though. You can keep the stash, but he'll do it. But you just gotta shave the head. You can keep the stash.
Right.
I will donate money to a charity if you shave that freaking thing, man. It's not fair.
I'm gonna donate it to charity. I just gotta let it get a little longer.
Dude,
donate. You can donate
awesome, it, man.
Yeah,
that'd be so awesome.
So, Rob, last week, Bill went on this epic.
Now he's just rubbing it.
Bill went on this epic rant about Diego Lopez's mullet, so we said we're going to get a Diego Lopez starter mullet and have him wear it every week on the show. And then Tanner just was bored at work or something and came up with this photo.
Tanner, I've joked with him on the show. I said, dude, every time a cop would pull me over, do you know why I pulled you over? And be like, it's like, why?
I know exactly why.
I think you're jealous of my hair. So that's my referent for this week, man. Save some ladies for the rest of us, man. Level the playing field.
Don't worry, I'm married, so
it's not fair. You get to have that hair in it.
He'd be single if he was bald. Just remember.
All right, guys.
Later, Taylor.
All right, I'll catch y'all later, guys. Appreciate
it.
Tanner, Canada, everybody. Go over to UFC Junkies if you're not already a member of UFC Junkies. Mm-hmm. We do some mild shit posting, but it's usually some good shit.
I'm sitting there hating this guy by the second looking at that mane. Jesus, man. Life's not fair. Oh, geez.
Brent, if you send it to me, I'll put it up. If you send it to me, Brent, it'll go. For you, Brent, we might even start a segment. Brent's pick of the week. Sponsored by Bill Bookwalter.
I will tell you. I tell you what, Rob. Brent has some part of the show is making fun of me, which I enjoy. It's fun.
Brent's he's also a judge. He works for Brent. Works for how many commissions? Multiple. Brent's a MMA judge who's not allowed to come on the show.
Brent is the guy that they call. Brent's the guy they call when they want to get it right. Like, Brent's a very good judge. He really is. He's been around for a while, so.
The judges that get me are the ones when it's like the other two, it's 29, 28, and then all of a sudden the one for two judges, and then all of a sudden the one has it 30 to 27. You're like, what the hell did you like?
I will tell you what, I have seen a fight or two, and we're not going to mention it. I've seen a fight or two.
You're mentioning it.
Dead ass. No, I won't mention it by name. I thought that Brent got it right while the other two judges fucked it up. That's happened like on major shows.
It's just,
That's all I'll say about it. Like
that's why I think the fight, like former fighters might be better. You know, I don't know what the requirements for the judging is. You know, to be a judge.
Listen, the sport has progressed a lot when it comes to judges. Okay. And back 10, 12 years ago, you could literally just wrestle and lay on a guy, and the judges would just give that credit for everything. You know, literally did no damage, did nothing with it. Was literally definition of laying. Stop it, right?
Don't, Brent. Don't stop.
Hey, Bill said the same thing before. Don't worry about it.
Definitely the definition of lay and pray. And the other guy is doing all the work, all the damage, and you can tell the other guy is just trying to run out the clock. And I've seen Brent score it correctly. And the other two judges didn't know anything to do other than to give the guy that was laying on top 2 rounds.
Yeah. Well, they're supposed to advance a position, so if they're not trying to advance their position, stand them up. If you're not going to advance the position, right? Like,
well, you know what? That's where the ref can help the judges out because the judges can only score what happened. So
actually, you know what? That's what I just said was the ref thing.
Yeah, well, that dude, that comes into the pre-fight rules meeting where I tell the guys, if you're just laying there, I'm like, if it's close and you don't give the judge a reason to give you that round, don't cry after the fight's over. I'm like, give the judge a reason to give you that round. You know, show him something. You know,
So
I try and coax them along a little bit. You know, so that they don't get put in that position. So.
That's horrible.
The fighters are just as responsible for these close-ass decisions as the refs or judges, you know? So
true. Very true.
I think what we need to do is, and I say this to a lot of people, especially out in the comments and stuff, if they want to understand, if you can't do accents, don't watch it. But Sean Sheehan's an straight up MMA journalist from Ireland. Yeah. When I say MMA journalist, and people are like, it's kind of like when people call me MMA media. I'm like, fuck you. Sean has a real good understanding of the sport, and he's probably put out the most in-depth analysis, just the idiot's guide to judging, so everybody can understand what this is and why.
Oh, nice.
And the accent takes away from it a little bit because I know some people can't do accents, but I think that the move is for all our American fans, we're going to get Brent Colfish in a mask, like the Masked Singer, and we're going to disguise his voice, and we're going to get him to explain the MMA rules to these common fucks on the internet. From a certified judge.
Using auto-tune.
Can we call Brent? Can we call Brent Deep Throat?
We'll say Deep Throat. Trials. It's already been decided he will be Deep Throat. That'll be his little blurb right here in the corner.
The worst nickname in the history of all political scandals, Deep Throat.
Deep Throat. We'll get him a mask. He can do it complete anonymity. We'll set it up in an undisclosed location, and he could just go over the rules. Because until you understand, like you got people commenting. They hear John Anik at the beginning of the fight say, and it's one of them things where like there's people out there's a segment of people. So I know they're like so dedicated to football that as soon as they see a flag on the play, they know it was offsides and they'll call it because they were watching the play and they understand it from home. You don't have that in the MMA fan base. You just have these guys that hear effective striking and grappling, aggressiveness, octagon control. And they are like, well, he did this, but he didn't do this. And they don't even understand that a good portion of these fights don't ever meet the second and third judging criteria. Very few, you know, and the second going to the second is even less, but people don't understand this. They don't take the time to learn it. And if some of these people would take the time, like they would honestly, just like the people that boo jiu-jitsu, if you knew anything about what was going on, there's people booing 2 black belts. Yeah. And again, it's a black belt. That doesn't, Alex Pereira is a black belt. That doesn't mean that it's a varying degree now, but you got 2 high-level actual jiu-jitsu black belts grappling, and they're canceling each other out for 2 minutes of a round. And by 30 seconds in, boo! Bitch, if you want to watch striking, go watch fucking boxing. Like, this is part of the sport. So it kind of irritates me a little bit. Everybody's going to watch how they want to watch. It is what it is. But, like, you have no room to talk if you're not educating yourself. And unfortunately, this is the internet. People don't think like that. So,
dude, I think we just
that might be the rules.
I think we developed a new segment. That's the first time I think I ever heard Garrett rant, man. I think we have the prices right.
I think that's good. Having something about the rules or whatever, like, or what would justify this or that movement from either the judge or the ref. I think that would be kind of good.
I think
that's
every once
interesting
in
for
a while,
sure.
I think Garrett should have a platform to get some shit off his chest, and we'll just call it The Price is Right. I think we're probably going to get.
Ilya, that's Bill. That's The Price is Right for the entire 45 minutes where I'm in pre-show before you don't even bother to show up. That's when I'm right.
Oh my God! I made it.
Production meetings, I'm right. I mean, I've called it already. Ilya Max at a soccer stadium in Spain.
Amazing fight. That would be amazing.
Throat Brett Coldflesh with the fucking rules videos. Fuck, Rob. What are we talking about the other day, bro? Put a camera up somewheres and wrap somebody's fucking hands and talk about what you're doing, and we will put it out there so these people can understand this. Like, we're trying to grow this media shit. Tanner jumped on, like, we're trying to grow it. And if you want to offer that perspective and you got the time, bro, you got a home to do it. We'll chop it, we'll edit it. I'll take care of it. Me and Tanner will take care of all the shit you don't understand. Just ask Bill. All he does is show up and talk shit for an hour, really.
That's all I want to do. That's not a bad gig at all.
I mean, you look at guys like Fight Tips. That guy Fight Tips started in his garage and invested in a training space and just started doing fight tips. And like, you're either here to educate or entertain. It's the internet. We do both, man. We try and do both. So if you, seriously, I'll extend it to you, man. If that's something you want to do, you know, we're all passionate about the sport. And Bill, if you'd have told Bill 2 years ago, oh, you do an MMA podcast. But once I explained to Bill, like, this is all it is. It's just talking about stuff you dedicated your life to 20 years about. The passion's there. You're good at what you do. Your reputation's great. Let's get some content together, man. I know you enjoy it. You've got volumes
I'll do it for
of
sure.
stories.
I'll send you some stuff. I'll film that for you.
Yeah, film it. Let's get some stuff out there and let's start putting some stuff out there. I know we talked about some content before. It's we're definitely growing this thing. It's becoming big. Also, before I forget, we do have Fight Show merch. It is official. I didn't upload the pics yet. It's a nice little shirt. Shirts and hoodies. They're going to be available on mymmatcompany.com. We got to deal with them. A portion of every proceeds we're going to put back to a fighters fund. So stop by there. We'll get the links and stuff up next week. We've been promising it. People have been asking. But Fight Show merch, both there.
Nice.
Coming. Hoodies and shirts. Support the show that supports the fighters. We're going to be doing Geese for GIs as well with that portion of that. So the more you guys buy, the more you guys
Speaking of which, real quick, I've been trying to read your shirt the whole show, Garrett. What do you got going on there?
I got the Sean Brady 500 level. What do you got on, Bill? I know you got a 500 level shirt on. That's just how we do.
I do. I appreciate these guys, man.
Shout out to our other friends over at 500level.com. You can go to their website. They have officially licensed everything: football, baseball, UFC. It's not just UFC if you're a sports fan. 20% off the code Fight Show, all officially licensed. I got the Sean Brady. Man, they got Ilya Taporia, Sean Strickland, just tons of UFC, just the UFC logo itself. So check them out, 500level.com. We are proud to be partnered with them. And while we're paying the bills here, Bill, you already know, you want to tell them real quick again about our friends over at
I dig it, man. I dig it. And also more cost effective than those canned drinks. So you're going to be healthier. Bro. You're going to feel better. You're going to spend less. It's good stuff. I dig Buffed. So
Buff.energy/Fight Show. Discount will automatically applied on our landing page. Caffeine, nootropics, organic mushrooms, everything you need. You notice the focus thing, Bill? I noticed like sitting down doing like the pre-show stuff. If I have my Buff, I'm not, and this is no fluff, no bullshit. Like we don't talk about it unless we fuck with it. I'm able to kind of focus a little bit.
Pineapple. That's my flavor. I do, man.
I like the Venom Berry.
And I'll tell you what, Garrett, I am liking the more personalities we're introducing to the show and the more outreach we're giving the people. I like this stuff a lot. You know, it's about perspectives. When I sat down and thought about this, like doing it, and I'm like, all right, Bill's on. Who can I call from just years of being around? Like I talked to, and it's crazy because I got linked up with him through that veterans initiative I started, but like I messaged Isaac Valley Flag, who actually just fought in the BAKFC not that long ago. I'm friends with him on Facebook. Never met him. We're acquaintances. Just been around, just conversating for years.
like Isaac, I used to watch that guy fight in the UFC. Like, it's just the amount of people that were able to bring on, the amount of perspectives. Like, I don't like to speak on shit. I like to have conversations on the show, and then if people were like, "Hey, this is," I'm like, "Nah, it's not the way it is. This guy knows, and this guy said." Like, Pat Brady, we had on Rob. Where are you going to get on an MMA podcast with a former ref, a former me who's done a little bit of everything, and a cut man? Like, there's not. These are the Rob's got stories, bro. I can have him on every week for the rest of the year. I love
stories.
Rob, yeah, man, he's put his time in.
Wait. And here's the best part. Most people, dude, if I would have kept fucking with the ref shit, I could have taken this shit a lot further. I just want to spend time with my family and my friends now. These other refs, they're not allowed to get on a podcast and say what the hell they think. They can't. They're not allowed. The commissions won't allow it. I'm the one former UFC referee that's allowed to get on air on social media and literally call people pussies and cucks and say whatever the fuck I want to say.
We just got demonetized on YouTube, but it's all right. It's okay.
Yeah, whatever.
I'm the only dude, and it's nice. Like, dude, talk shit to me, I'll talk shit back. Like, you get it's fun. I enjoy it a great bit. I like this a lot better. I accomplished every goal I wanted to accomplish with refereeing and fighting. And I'm having a lot of fun with this shit, man. I'm finally starting to learn how to do this a little bit, I'm not a huge technology guy. I'm not a huge public
all you
speaker.
All you have to do, look, it's real simple. Production meetings, show up more than 5 minutes before we go live, stay out of Facebook jail. That's it. That's all you gotta do.
Well, here's the thing, Garrett. I am a professional fuck up. That's what I do. It's my thing. I'm very good at it. I can take a perfectly good airplane and crash that shit right into the ground.
I've worked my whole life for this.
Yeah, I will try and do better at staying out of Facebook jail, but sometimes people talk shit and it triggers me. And I will talk shit back. And that gets me banned for 30 days. And sometimes work runs late and I show up as soon as I can.
No, you're right. I give you shit.
I love
when you're off
it.
all week. When you're off all week and I don't hear from you until 5 minutes before the show time, it hurts, Bill. Okay, it just hits me right here.
We'll work on it. We're in an abusive relationship.
So you heard it here first. Fight Show. Look for Rob McMullen. You're going to see this. You're probably going to see videos of his beautiful face. He's going to be showing you what they do, how to wrap hands. Maybe he throws me some pictures and does a narration. We can talk about some gnarly cuts he's closed, whatever. You are now going to get the Cutman's perspective. So if you've ever wanted to talk to a professional Cutman, hit him up. He is on Facebook. You got anything else for Rob, Bill? I think we're at like an hour and 20, bro. If you want to.
Dude, Rob, I appreciate your time, man.
Hey, thanks, guys. I appreciate you guys.
Talking about your experiences, man. I do. I got to see it from my perspective. I've never got to see it from anybody else's perspective. So anybody can contribute and share their experiences. I appreciate your time, man. I really do.
Man, I'll come back anytime. I have this is a good time. I appreciate it.
Dude, like I said, you want to get some.
We'll come back and just do stories next time. Just do all stories.
Story time with Uncle Rob. We'll dress him up like Old Man Bolt. Back in '97.
Dude, Rob, when I say we have some fun shit coming up, we got some fun shit coming up, man. I'm telling you. We'll release it when the time is right. When Garrett tells me it's time to do some shit because of social media, we'll do it. We got some good shit coming up, man. I promise.
You can say it.
Just keep me posted. Let me know.
You can say it whenever you want to say it, Bill. It's your business to tell, buddy. Don't leave it up to me.
I will drop. I may or may not be in need of a hand wrap guy and cut man soon.
All right.
We'll leave it at that.
Okay. I'm here.
All right, brother.
Yes, sir. All right, man.
Can you afford him? That's the question.
We'll work it out.
Christy, you're working overtime. We're flying the cut man in from California.
Oh, Jesus. I'd never put that on her. That's on me. But yeah, dude, that would be fun.
Absolutely.
Bill, you're working overtime.
I'll talk to Garrett off air, man. I appreciate you being a friend of the show. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your time, man. I really do, Rob.
Man, thank you so much, man. I'm always
Rob,
here.
you get some free time, bro. Hit me up during the day. I know the time difference is a little hinky. Hit me up during the day. Hold on, we got some comments before we dive out of here. Christy said she has your back, so Christy's working overtime. Rob,
There you go. All right.
staying at the fucking Hilton, bro. I'll use my point.
Hey, as long as they don't put me in a room like I told you that, right? When we got to New York.
We're not going to discuss that.
No, it wasn't your fault. Like,
You were staying at my hotel. Look, when I showed up, I'm not aware of anything that happened prior to my arrival 5 hours up to New York. If you got put in the Fleabag Motel, I apologize.
No, it wasn't even that. No. It wasn't even that. Man, we stayed in some swanky hotels, dude. But no, the guy he goes, oh yeah, here you go. Gives us our key. We go up to the room. We walk into the room, and there's people in the fucking room. I'm like, dude, we almost got shot, Billy. There were people who were like, what the hell? And someone said, who's there? We're like, what? And they were already in the room. And this was, it was pretty late when we got in. But oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I thought we were gonna get shot. I went back downstairs and I told the guy, hey man, like you almost got us killed. We need a room where nobody is in it.
Dude, no good story starts with, so I was drinking this milk. Every good story was, so let me tell you about the night I thought I was going to get shot. That's fun.
That's not even the best one either. Yeah. That was
the week prior to that, 2 weeks prior to that, I was in Albany promoting. I had 2 fighters that fought with me, the guy that ran the floor, and our 145-pound champ with me at this bar. And we're giving out tickets and we're promoting, and the DJ's got me on the mic. And this meathead fucking Jersey Shore motherfucker got handsy, and I put him in a Kimura and fucked his shoulder up and almost got arrested. So Albany stories, we could do between guys training in their garages and their underwear to we show up to interview this guy who was training, and we show up and he's just in his underwear, but not a Speedo. He's in whitey tighties in this barn. Like I said, bro, we got time. We could tell stories. Rob can come back whenever the fuck he wants to.
Hell yeah.
Look for some Cutman videos with Rob. We're going to get on that, and we're going to do that soon. You're going to see that coming from Fight Show in the near future. Fight Show merch link will be up next week. We appreciate everybody for coming. Tanner for stopping in, as always. Rob for being with us. Bill, Christy for what she does in the background, which is probably keep Bill out of real jail. Appreciate you guys. Fight Show Nation episode 30. We're out.